Hello, very welcome to Progress Junior Golf with Live Sport Now and the England Golf Young Ambassadors. My name's Steve Jackson and this is Ian Waterhouse.
Steve, apologies, everybody. Day later than we had planned and advertised. That was my fault, actually. I had another stream going out last night to Double Bubble, so we've decided, okay, no, we're going to be okay. Let's do it Thursday night. So really sorry, everybody, but hey, how good is that though? Because now we get to watch it tonight instead. How much better is that? Everybody's with us now, live on a Thursday night. Much better.
Or when they're watching the repeat on the Sunday night, of course. But,
or you're watching the repeat, and if you're watching the repeat, hello. What a lovely weekend.
We're on time. In fact, if you're watching the repeat, we're on time. So what are we talking about? Now, this is show number 48 of the Progress Junior Golf podcast. Now, we're getting closer to that half century, aren't we, Ian? So just a couple of shows to go before the end of the year. So yeah, to reach that milestone, hopefully by the end of the year. Right, now this podcast is all about junior golf. It's about the next generation of golfers. It's about getting more boys and girls playing the game of golf. Now, we've covered a lot of subjects in this podcast. We've interviewed a lot of golfers here, haven't we? And people within the golf industry, either live on the show or with pre-recorded interviews. But I've had a quick look back. There's only one interview that I've conducted. This was way back in July, and it's a unique interview because it was an interview with Ladies European Tour professional Emma Spitz. It took place at Centurion, the LET event. Yeah, we covered a lot of different subjects within that interview, including talking about different sports that she played. Now, but the reason why that interview is unique is because that is the only time we've talked about how junior golf works in a different country. Now, we have spoken to Aaron Cox, who, of course, is an Australian, as we well know. You know, he's been on the show a couple of times, but we didn't really cover his background in junior golf from down under. So let's put that right today, then, because we are going to be covering junior golf, international junior golf. Yeah, I think it's a massive subject, and obviously, massive subject. How many countries are there in the world which play golf? How many countries in the world which play junior golf, you see? So it really is something which we do need to look at. Now, I was very fortunate last week. I was at the Fowler Series European Grand Final, took place at Al Ain Golf and Shooting Club in the UAE.
Hang on, Steve, just trying to find my invites. I assume it got lost in the post.
Again, but, I mean, you know. The post in the old area is dreadful, isn't it? You even moved house because the post was so bad last year.
Yeah, it hasn't improved.
No. I'm sure the invite will come out for you for next year. You never know. Yes. Now, there's the irony, though, isn't it? The European Grand Final, it took place in the UAE. But anyway, there you go. Players from lots of different countries took part in that. So we're going to assess who played, what happened in the event, and also while I was there, I had a chance to talk to some of the people involved with junior golf, international junior golf. So we spoke with the teacher professional at Al Ain Golf and Shooting Club, Tien Labashkakni. Congratulations, I believe I managed to pronounce his name right there.
Yeah, congratulations.
Absolutely. Felicia Martinson, a Swedish junior golfer. She actually played in the Fowler Series event. And Rajana Gachura, who's the president of junior golf in Kenya, which obviously is a country which you wouldn't necessarily associate with golf, full stop, let alone junior golf. I know they do hold a Ladies European Tour event there, but it was fascinating talking to those three as well. And also we're going to cover exactly what happened in the event as well. So big show coming up for us today. Just give us the background of if people want to get involved in how they can.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Steve. Just a quick one as well, actually. I've got a bit of experience of this as well. I, earlier in this year, did an event for golf clubs for Uganda. So we broadcast an event, and it was getting golf clubs over to Uganda so they could just play. And a lot of it was designed for kids, to get kids into golf over in Uganda. So that was a lot of fun. So just talking about Kenya there, it just brought that to memory. But of course, golf all over the world. And if you have experience, yes, as ever, we want to hear from you. This is an interactive show. You can get in touch with us. We're live across Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. Best place, though, to have your comments shown is YouTube. You can do that by heading over to Live Sport Now. This video is live there right now. You can do it by scanning that QR code there. It'll take you straight through to Live Sport Now in the live chat. Say hello if you want. We can show it on screen. Tell us your experience if you're a junior who's played overseas, or if you're a parent of a junior who's played overseas, or if you're looking at maybe that's an option going forward. Please get in touch. Ask us a question or tell us about your experience. This show is for you. We do want to hear from you. Steve, back to you.
Right. So first things first, as always, we're going to cover the latest junior golf news. As you can appreciate, not too much going on at the moment, but there has been some events. The Stephen Gallagher Foundation had their national match play final. We might have a photo of the winner, which was Alexander Yule from Gullen Golf Club. He beat Luke Bonser in the final. So match play. Over 18 holes. Bonser was actually 3 up with 3 to play, but credit where credit's due. Yule birdied the par 3 16th hole, so got a 2, and then parred the last 2 holes, won those 2 holes as well. Went into a playoff. Have a guess how many holes were left in the playoff then, Ian?
How many holes in the playoffs?
You love a playoff, you do. So come on.
Well, you've asked me the question, so I'm assuming it's quite a lot of holes then in the playoffs. 9.
Well, not quite that many, but four holes of the playoff. So
I was going to say 4, but I thought I was being a bit conservative.
Unlike you. So well done to Alex then for winning out. There was also a consolation salver final as well. Eddie Jackson against Murray Bouncer, and very similar actually scoring wise, in the sense of Bouncer was 3 up with 4 to play, but lost the 15th, 16th, and 17th hole, half the 18th hole. So once again went to a playoff. Eddie Jackson won. Ian, which playoff hole did he win on?
4.
6.
Oh, you teed me up perfectly for that one as well. I really thought that was going to be 4.
Absolutely, yes. But hey, how about?
I bet everybody watching else thought that was going to be 4 as well.
Absolutely, yeah. But how about that though? Two finals, both of them going into extra holes. 4th hole and then the 6th hole. So that sounds like a fantastic competition which took place there. Right, flipping on to the other side of the Atlantic then. We are talking about international golf today. Arizona.
Of course.
What about this for a name for a competition? The Gobbler Amateur competition took place at Sawala Golf Club in Tucson, in Arizona, over in the US, and it was won by a Scotsman. Sebastian Sandy. We might have a photo of Sebastian actually. There he is with the trophy there. There's no doubt about the name of that trophy, is there?
The Gobbler.
Yes,
that's brilliant, isn't it? That's superb.
So shot 69, 68, 72 for a 3-round total of 209. Sebastian is from Dunblane. The first round's the one which really interested me though, because I had a look at his score. He parred the first 3 holes, then he went birdie, 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 par. Birdie, birdie, birdie. So 6 birdies in 7 holes. So well, basically, I mean, he pretty much will put himself in the lead to start the tournament. 6 birdies actually in his
Scottish flag
in his second round. Yeah, good lad there. And then in his final round, a couple of birdies and an eagle in his final round, won by 2 strokes in the end. There's only actually 4 players who finished under par. So well done to him. Right, we will be covering the Founder Series Grand Final. We're going to be going through all the results in that competition. We're going to cover that in the podcast. So that wraps up basically the junior golf this week.
Well, that's a short one, Steve.
Absolutely. Well, like I say, not too much to talk about in terms of results this week. I mean, we'll be covering a little bit more of the detail of the Founder Series Grand Final, so there will be more news coming up in the podcast. So, right, let's talk about international junior golf then. I think the first thing we're going to do is we'll show a video of the players who took part in the grand final, because big event, 57 players took part, lots of different countries taking part. So let's just go through them. I'll explain a little bit more about the players as we're going through them.
I'm going to have to set this up, everybody. So here we go. We're starting. Bear with.
Founder Series.
No music on this, so you're going to talk Founder Series. Is that this is the video? Yes,
that's it. Yes. So Founder Series Grand
Here we go.
Final took place at the UAE. That's Alicia Casion, who's from the Philippines, the only player from the Philippines to take part in the competition. That's me taking a photo of her on one of the putting greens. Alex
France.
got it now. France. Right, well, we're going to do a quiz question here, then try and name the flags. Then, so he's from France, right? I think you might get the next one.
Wales.
Wales. That's Alex Yap from Wales. So that's him on the golf course there.
Slovakia.
Slovakia. Oh, yeah, you're pretty good here. So that's Alexander Sulkova from Slovakia. You mentioned that. I think you'll probably get the next one as well. Sweden. Yeah, this lad's good. Alexandra Berglund, that is from Sweden. That's her teeing off on the first tee there at LA.
Scotland.
Scotland. Well done. Yeah, that's Archie Cook from Scotland. Actually, initially I thought he was from England, but he said no, I'm Scottish. England. That's Ariana Virik, someone who I know very well from Warwickshire. So actually, she qualified via the Robert Rock Junior Golf Tour. Now, go on then. Who's that one? Kenya. Well done. That's Ashley Awuyu. So well done to Ashley. Very colourful outfits he has on as well, playing.
England again.
England. That's Ava Bates, who qualified via the England South tournament. Next one. Now, the interesting one about the next one is
Spain.
Only representative from Spain. I expected to be more players from Spain taking part in it, but that was Beatrice Suara Niev. Next one.
England again. Ben Bolton. Great lad is Ben, and his dad.
Yeah, so that's Ben Bolton from England. He qualified via the England Midlands competition. Next two players are both from the same country, ones we mentioned already. Again. So that's Bianca Ngeko. That's her on the golf course. I think she might have been one of the very youngest players to play in the competition. That's Daniel Karagu, once again from Kenya. He played in the boys under 18. Cool. He is. He sent me. He was the quickest one to get back to me as far as trying to get photos when we came back. Yes, that's Daniel Tolf from Sweden. Yep, he will come to the results later, but he played really well in this competition. He did.
Another England.
Ed Linley. Interesting one about Ed. Ed wasn't on the initial start sheet that I was given, so I think he came in as a very late replacement. But yep, another English player.
Yeah, and again,
no problem guessing which college he goes to. That's Eddie Wade from Bedford College.
That's a cool name, by the way, isn't it? Eddie Wade.
Absolutely. That's a golf. That's yeah. That's Elizabeth Ball, once again from England. Estelle Berbner, once again, England. Next one. I think the next one is a country which we haven't said so far. So let's see what you're good at. See how good you are on this.
Austria,
yeah, very good. That's Fabian Fischke from Austria. Hits a big ball, as you can well imagine.
Dubai.
The UAE, yes.
UAE, yeah.
Yes,
UAE.
That's Faye Mohammed. Another one actually was quite late on the entry list.
Another Swede.
Sweden. That's Felicia, who we will hear from later on. So that's Felicia out on the golf course. And really good of her to talk to us. Yeah. Now, England, but that's Freddie Dortmund. When I asked him which country he represented, he said Netherlands initially, but then he said, I suppose I ought to put England down. So we put him down for England. That's Henry Lindley, once again, England.
You should have put Netherlands down. It'd have been the only one.
Absolutely, yeah. He's also related to one of the former Ryder Cup captains, Bernard Gallagher. Ooh. That's Henry Styles, once again, England. Right, another country coming up next, one we haven't mentioned so far.
Iceland, I want to say.
Finland.
Wrong way.
Hugo Nyland, that is, from Finland.
First one wrong. I'm so disappointed.
Shocking. Yes.
I've been to Finland as well. Should have got
that. Yes. Isabella Taylor-Stokes there, who was actually mentioned a couple of weeks ago when we did preview the podcast. We said that she was playing this competition, playing it last year from England. Another one from England there is Izzy Hurrian.
Yeah.
Who qualified actually via the competition in Wales. Next one's another English golfer. That's James Mead, who I tell you what, Ian, he had the biggest blister on the back of his foot at the end of this tournament. Credit to him for actually finishing because he looked in a lot of pain.
UAE again.
Right. UAE, that's Jamie Rosalind Camaro. Once again, we'll go through the results afterwards, but she played really well. England golfer Georgia Newbold from England qualified for the North tournament, I think, which took place at Dunstable Castle, of course, which we know very well. Right,
Slovakia again.
Slovakia again. That's Juraj Jumanka.
Where are we going to now? Kenya again. Kenya had a good representation, didn't it?
They did, yes. Hence the reason why we spoke to their president of junior golf. That's Chris Shah. Next one, right? New country.
Czech Republic, I want to say.
Czech Republic, correct. Kristina Malinova from the Czech Republic. You mentioned about countries which have a good representation. Sweden once again. Yep, that's Louise Hofgren. I think they actually had 4 players playing from Sweden. Lots of players from England, as you can imagine. That's Luke Metcalf. Qualified from, I think he qualified at Brocket Hall, certainly one of the South competitions. A couple of English girls coming next then. That's Lulu Leatham from England.
Yep.
And that's Madeline Smith. Big smile from Madeline.
Yeah, go on, Madeline.
Yes. That's her on the golf course. As you can see, a fair bit of water on this golf course, you know. Yeah. Right. India. The only representative from India, that's Maureen Bhatia.
Austria again.
Austria, yes. Maria Witzman.
They've got cool shirts, the Austrians, haven't they?
They do, yes.
On the other lad.
Yes. Right. First representative from this country.
Ireland.
Very good. Mark Cadden. Couple of players from Ireland. He was one of them. And actually, talking about countries which have good representation, Slovakia, an unusual one.
Third one.
Matthias Massa.
That's a good shot. Look at that. That is.
Oh, what a photographer. That's Molly May Baker, who lives just down the road from me in Northamptonshire. So it's lovely to see her there playing in the competition. I think it was just a really good experience for her. Right.
Czech Republic again.
That's Slovakia, actually. Matthias Massa.
That was the Czech flag.
Oh, no, you're right, Czech Republic. There you go. You see, you know your flags, don't you? That's Niall Cherrett. The interesting thing with Niall was there, and you'll see there a photo of him. That was in the practice round because he actually pulled out injured before the tournament started.
Oh, no.
Right, who's that?
I think this is Vietnam.
You think correctly. That's Nguyen Anya Mina. Once again, played well. Name the country. Poland. Very good. That's Nina Pitch. Sorry. The next ones you should know the country. England. Noah Cambridge. Once again, qualified from the North. And another one from England. That's Owen Rafferty.
Weather looked a bit cloudy, Steve.
Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, there were some clouds on the first day, which made a big difference. Padraig O'Doherty from Ireland, correct?
Oh, Thailand.
Thailand, yes. That's Pamas Abatij-Apan. And credit to Pamas because she was really ill going into the final day, but she gave it a go, tried to go out there and tried to play. Unfortunately, she had to pull out injured or ill because she was getting a bit dizzy spells.
Well, good effort for trying
that heat. Yeah, that's Paul Collington from England. Right, then the country.
Latvia.
This man knows his countries. Stefan Sprutz from Latvia. He actually qualified via the competition in Spain. Englishman, that's Teddy Hall. We'll hear from Teddy in a second about what he did. He qualified via Scotland. Right, name the country.
Denmark.
That's Victor Koffo Olsen.
I'm still angry at myself for getting Finland wrong.
I know, shocking. The only left-hander in the field. How about that? 57 players, only one left-hander.
Is this Slovenia?
No, that is Serbia.
Serbia. Oh, I knew
Serbia.
That.
Vukasin Satorov.
That's 2 countries I've insulted and never been invited back to.
That's right. Another one from Sweden. That's Wilhelm Borgerson. And we have one to go. Do you know this last one?
Oh, is it like Tahiti or something?
Taiwan.
I knew that.
That's Yun Chin Kyo. So that was the field. 57 players took part in the European Grand Final over in LAN. So as you can see there, I managed to take photos of all the players there on the golf course there. The interesting thing, the idea with the flags came because when you go there, the credit to the venue, they put up flags of all the representatives of the country. And the funny thing about it was there was 2 players in there. When I was asking them which country they were representing, they didn't have their flag up there. So I had to then go back to the club and say, actually, and well done to them, because they have their flags. That they've literally got all the flags. So they the next day, the next morning, the flag was up there, kind of thing. So
no messing.
Absolutely,
no
yes.
Messing.
Right. Now, we mentioned earlier that we've done the results or the news, the golf junior golf news. We were going to cover what happened in this competition. Then, really, really good competition. It is an international show, so we are going to be talking about international golfers, but we have to say the English golfers did do very well. So I know who won. The overall prize, yes, absolutely right. So we have got some photos to go with these, so we'll go through them there. The winner, then, overall winner, someone who we actually bigged up because we said that he was playing in the competition 2 weeks ago, didn't we? We said, watch out for him. There he is. Ben Bolton, who won.
Any boy.
And with someone who you might recognise there on the left-hand side doing a little interview, someone called Sir Nick Faldo. Might have won a couple of tournaments over the years.
There he is. Yeah. I think I've come across.
Yes, absolutely. So Ben shot 65 in the first round, 70 in the second round. Going into the final round was with a good lead, and then shot 66 in the final round to finish on 9 under par. So won by 7 shots from Vietnam's Nguyen Anya Mina.
What a picture that is, though, Steve, isn't it? What a memento that is for Ben and his family.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Now, shall I tell you a story about what happened to Ben on the first night? So we're there. So when you got there, this year they coincided with the DP World Tour, the final event of the year. So they had a day out at the final event of the year. The following days were practice day, and then the tournament started on the Tuesday. On the first night, after he'd had a practice round, he came back, and unfortunately he had something to eat which didn't agree with him. He actually had wait for it. He actually had a nut allergy. Oh no. Yes. And unfortunately, he reacted, and he couldn't breathe. He was struggling to breathe, and
did he have to go to hospital?
Well, this is it. It was touch and go. They were saying about whether he should or not. He did improve. He had a pen. He had it. So he was getting better, but he really wasn't in a good state, kind of thing. And we're talking about 11:30 at night.
What was his tee time?
They were all fairly early the following morning, and I got to admit, I got there the next morning, and I fully expected him to pull out. And like I say, what did he shoot in the first round? 65. I mean, that kid has got some balls, and he's got some talent.
He's an absolute weapon.
Yeah,
Ben.
And it was funny because I obviously I was on the golf course taking photos, and I bumped into him. And the first thing I said is, "How you feeling?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm doing okay." I didn't know what his score was. I think he was about 4 or 5 under at that point, kind of thing. And I'm just thinking, well done, you're out here. And then when I saw his score, and I thought, wow, this kid's got some talent. And he's a good player, right? So Ben's only, I think he's only 15 years old as well. So he won the overall under 18s prize, also won the under 16s prize. And actually, because he was the leader going into the final round, they sent the under 16s out in the final group, and then they left the under 18s to be in the second group. That's where we get the photo of the winner here, because it was won by Teddy Hall. And the photo is probably my favourite photo of the week.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Because that is holding a 35-footer in the second playoff hole from off the green to win the playoff. And he beat Daniel Toll from Sweden. We've got a photo of Daniel here because on the first playoff hole, Daniel holed a really good putt there to keep the playoff going on. So it was a really good standard playoff. That was a birdie putt. That was Teddy earlier holding for birdie on the second playoff hole. So real quality there. Teddy scored 68, 72, 70. Daniel 68, 69, 73. So they both finished on level par. So well done to Teddy. So a couple of English victories in the boys' competitions though. Different story in the girls though. Photo of the winner then. The under 21s was won by UAE's Jamie Roslin Camero. There she is on the first tee. Scores of 71. 72, and we're talking about really high quality here. 67 in the final round, won by 1 shot from Alexandra Berglund from Sweden. We might have a photo of Alex. I can't remember which photos I sent through now.
I don't have a photo of. I've got a photo of Marie.
Okay, well, we'll hold fire then. So Alexander will finish second. She shot 68 in the second round, so just missed out by 1 shot there. Under 16s then, Marine Bhatia
There
from
she
India there. And those are the flags in the background there. Do you see them, Ian?
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, I can see Sweden, Denmark, and Czech
You can
Republic,
see the Denmark,
France,
can you? Oh, well done for recognising. Can you see the Finland one? Since you're now barred from going to that country.
Well, I'm never allowed back. So where was the other one? Serbia. I won't be let in Serbia either.
So there you go.
I'm sorry for getting the flag wrong. I've learned my lesson.
Absolutely. There you go. So you should know better. Right. Yes. So Maureen from India, she shot 77, 71, 72, won by 2 shots from Alethea Gaussian from the Philippines. So really good. I think we've got a few photos of the presentations afterwards there as well.
There you go. Look at that. Brilliant.
So yeah. There's Alex, I think on the far left I mentioned, and I think all the rest of the players there we've pretty much recovered at some point, and obviously Sinek there in the middle. I think we might also have a group photo of everyone. I think I might have sent that one through as well.
That's it. Unless you sent me some this morning, Steve. That's all I've got. 9 photos.
Fine. Okay, that's fine. So right. So obviously that was the tournament then. So 22 different nations were represented. Really big international competition. Yeah. So well done to them. Right. Now we are going to be talking international golf. So while I was there, I chatted with various people involved with the Faldo series. First person I spoke to, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name because I'm going to let him pronounce his name, but I spoke to the teaching professional at LAM Golf and Shooting Club. I knew him as Tien. This is what he had to say about his background, not just from the UAE, because he originally grew up in South Africa. So let's hear what he had to say about his progress into junior golf. This is Tien.
Tien Labuschagne. I am one of the teaching pros here in Al Ain. I started playing golf when I was about 5 years old down in South Africa. Obviously my grandpa and dad were a big part of that. Basically got me started in it, yeah.
And at that, how did you develop over the years then? What kind of coaching did you get?
So never really had any coaching. It was always kind of figured it out myself. And then when we moved out here to Al Ain in 2016, I had my first official golf lesson. It was quite an experience. One of the pros here had my first lesson, and we just went from there.
When you were playing junior golf though in South Africa, or did you play junior golf in South Africa? Did you play competitive junior golf when you were?
I did play competitive junior golf. Yeah.
What was that like?
It was really good. The level of golf in South Africa is really good at junior level. You've got all your interprovincial golf between all the states in South Africa. I nearly made it onto the team a few times, but always came up a little bit short. I made really good friends, lifelong friends there as well.
And handicap-wise, how did it develop over the years?
It got quite good. When I was in South Africa, I think I was playing off maybe 4 or 5, somewhere there, always consistently.
What age?
I was about 12, 13.
That's good standard.
11, 12, somewhere there.
Yeah.
And then obviously when we moved out here, we had a full driving range that you could use anytime, par 3 course. Obviously golf lessons. So I got to a really good point where I was at consistently +3, +2, +3, somewhere there.
Why do you think so? I mean, you mentioned South Africa is very good at developing junior golf. Why do you think that is?
I don't really know, to be honest. I just think there's so many junior golfers and we all just kind of bounce off of each other. The level of competitiveness is quite big. All the players are always pushing each other to do better. There's so many different foundations that you can get to. Like you've got the Louis Westhuizen Academy, you've got all those different academies all over the place that you can get into. Yeah.
And I suppose South Africa, you're going back years, it had Gary Player many years ago. So you had someone to look up to.
Ernie Els, Louis Westhuizen. Yeah, you always had these role models that you always looked up to, and you think one day I'm going to be as good as him. Always, whenever we came out to watch him somewhere, got to find Louis, get his autograph, something like that. Yeah.
And how did that compare with coming here in the UAE, whereby didn't have any role models. So how different is it here to there?
Yeah, so it was a bit different. Obviously, in South Africa, you got to watch them a bit more. I feel, obviously, you've got your tour events here in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, so we'd always go up to watch them there. Try and find them. Got to get the South Africans' signatures or a glove or a ball or something like that. But always had my role model, Louis Oosthuizen and Ernie Els, obviously. Yeah.
And playing golf then, when you came over here, you said you started taking lessons here. I mean, it's surprising the fact that you didn't have any lessons in South Africa and got to that standard.
Yeah, I had one or two like group lessons here and there. A pro would come down to our little town that we were at for like one Friday in the month. We'd have a small group lesson, but that was maybe an hour once a month, and that would be where I'd pick up one or two small things and then really concentrate on that.
When you come to a country like this, which perhaps doesn't have the background in golf, what kind of lessons were you getting? Was it a good standard, the coaching?
Yeah, it was. You mean here in UAE?
Yeah.
It was really good. Got high level professionals all over the place. Pretty much every club in the UAE has at least 2 or 3 really good professionals. They've also got all the technology as well, all your TrackMan, FlightScope, indoor simulators and things like that we never had in South Africa, that I never had there. So coming here was quite a shock. It's a lot more technology orientated. But yeah, it was a big change.
What about the climate of this country? Because obviously it's desert golf, so therefore you have to get used to playing in
so always carrying around 3 or 4 gloves, because you're always sweating through the other 2. Shorts all the time, never ever having jackets on, things like that. So personally, I love that. I hate wearing jackets and long pants and things. So golf in the UK is not for me. But yeah, it's good. It's really good here.
And how did that help? Do you think that did help you, the fact that you were playing in a country whereby you could play literally all the way through the year?
I think so, yeah. Obviously summer's a little bit tough, 45, nearly 50 degrees Celsius, so it does get hot, but luckily here we've got some night golf. Range is fully floodlit, par 3 course is floodlit, so you'd come out at 8 p.m. when it's dark, and when it's only 35 degrees, that you could get some practice in at least, so that was good.
And how does it work with kids in this country, in the sense of, do they go to school in the day and because it's too hot in the day, they might be able to do something in the evening? Is that how it could work?
Yeah.
Is that how it does work here?
I think that's what a lot of kids do, is they go to school until 3-4 in the afternoon, and they've got 1 or 2 extracurriculars, but then I see them all the time at the golf course from 5 until here late at night, 7-8 o'clock every day almost. Yeah.
I'm talking about the Faldo Series then, which obviously you're hosting.
Yeah.
How much difference do you think that makes to international junior golf, the fact that you get so many different nationalities
really
playing?
Good. You get to see the different levels of golf throughout the world. We've got 20 different countries here represent 22. The levels of golf throughout the world is just phenomenal, isn't it?
And do you, when you've been out there, you've seen them play?
Yeah.
Are there particular countries where you think they need to develop, need to work more on their development in terms of, or is it putting a uniform across the?
I think your Eastern European countries have to travel a bit more to get to maybe Faldo Series, for example. A couple other tournaments, maybe they don't have as big a platforms just yet, so maybe they start developing. But I think especially your UK, France, that area, they've got really good platforms, really good coaches, facilities wise really good as well. So I think they're just above performance wise. We'll see.
Obviously, this podcast has been broadcast in the UK, and you mentioned about the weather here. That's obviously something which we can't have in the UK. So, what would your advice be on how things that they can bring from what you have here into the UK, or similar countries which have similar climates, shall we say?
Yeah, it's always easier to play in the dry heat, sun, no rain, no wind, nothing like that. playing in the rain is just different. Your grips are slippery, your hands are wet, you're cold. Vice versa here, you're always hot, you always have to drink plenty of liquids, make sure you're hydrated, staying in the shade. It's completely different, I'd say.
I mean, just on that point there, when people do come out here, obviously we're talking about juniors here, how quickly do they have to learn to adapt to the heat?
Very quickly. As we've seen, even from the first day, kids feeling a little bit weak, not drinking enough liquids. When I say liquids, not just water, it's not good. Just water alone is not good enough. You need the extra electrolytes, a bit of salt in there as well, to keep your body from cramping up and getting all stiff, so that you can perform at your best.
So that's Sian Labaskakny from he's a teaching professional at
well pronounced.
Absolutely, yeah, plenty of practice trying to do that one. At El Alain Golf and Shooting Club. He's actually only 19 years old as well, so turned professional at a very young age. Obviously, you know, I mean, what did you take from what he was saying there? I was amazed when he said to me the standard that he was at without any real coaching at a young age, at a country like South Africa. That surprised me.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising. I think it's probably accessible over there, though, isn't it? You know, in South Africa, like when we think of golf, I often think South Africa is a good place. I mean, they've got the Sunshine Tour and things like that, so it's in golfing terms, it's very well developed. I think South Africa, but it's like anybody with natural talent, you can go you can get to a reasonably high level, but then you need to have it fine tuned a little bit. I've got to say, 19 years old, he's had some career already, hasn't he? And I've got to say, his English accent is remarkable as well. I would have thought he was from the south of England or somewhere like that. But yeah, I mean, where he's come from, he's got experience of South Africa, which for me is a developed golf country. It's like the USA. It's like most places in Europe, I'd say, certainly England and Scotland and, you know, the home countries, and say Spain and France, you know, a good place to start out. It would be, I'm looking forward to hearing this Kenya one as well, to find out sort of what the situation is and the scenarios for juniors over there. But I mean, this is a kid who switched on, isn't it? This is a kid who switched on, who maybe did it a slightly different route to potentially a lot of the finalists in the Faldo series who probably had coaching from a younger age, but it just goes to show it's doable. And
also the contrast as well from South Africa as well to the UAE, whereby UAE is a country whereby very, very technical in the sense that it's got the money to put into the sport, but doesn't have the background of the people who have played the sport before. So different, completely different from South Africa.
I think that's maybe why they've brought him in for that experience that he can give over as well. Doesn't like the cold weather, does he?
No.
I mean, I love that. You know, I've got to have 3 gloves. Normally, it's like I've got to have 3 gloves because it's so cold.
We put 3 gloves on top of each other. Yeah.
It's so hot. yeah. I'm like, the hardships. But I mean, you know, looking out this morning, it was frosty here in the UK, of course. So it's a different game, actually, isn't it, Steve? If you think about that, the experiences are different from everybody, which is why it's good to hear from different people, because playing in South Africa and then coming over to the UAE is different. And I'm sure people up in Scotland will be able to say at 7 o'clock, or well, you won't be able to play 7, but if anybody's teed off at, say, 9 o'clock this morning in northern Scotland, there's a chance they might not be able to play, but because of the frost. And it's a different game, actually, isn't it?
Yes, and that's obviously all about international golf. But let's hear from one of the players who played in the competition then. Felicia Martinsson from Sweden then. She was one of the youngest competitors in this competition. And credit to her for talking to me. One of the first things she said to me is, I don't think my English is good enough, kind of thing. But I said to her, your English is a lot better than my Swedish, and also your English is probably better than my English. So yeah. But this is what Felicia had to say, and she just explained her background of how she got into junior golf over in Sweden. So let's hear from her.
When I was 9 years old, I have hit some balls before when I was little, but I started to play in practice when I was 9.
Why?
Because I think it was fun, and I have a couple of other sports too, but I think it was fun to play, and my friends were there, and then I been stuck with it.
How did it compare with other sports then? Did it challenge different things?
Yeah, it was a bigger challenge because I really like the sport, and yeah, I just think that it was the funniest sport, and yeah.
And how, as you grew older, then, how
Yeah.
did your handicap develop? How did you develop as a golfer?
Yeah, it was going better at the years, and yeah, now it doesn't happen so much because I've been stuck a bit. But yeah, when I was a little younger, it was easier to yeah,
Get better.
get better and
Yeah.
score better.
Yeah. Now, obviously, in Sweden, my understanding in Sweden is that it's around about 25% of golfers in Sweden are female, which is unusual for most countries.
Yeah.
Did that help you as a junior golfer? The fact that did you have other girls who were friends who were playing the game?
Yeah, really much. I have very many girls players and friends, and both of them, and that's really fun. We play tournaments together in groups from our clubs, and that's you can meet a boy or a girl, and that's really fun, I think.
I don't know whether you can answer this, but do you know why Swedish golf has got so many female golfers? Is it a little bit more open than other countries? Do you have an explanation?
I don't know really, but no, I don't know.
I mean,
No, I don't
the
know.
one thing I can think of is that you had Annika Sorensen, so you
Yeah,
had someone
yeah,
to look at. Is
that's- yeah.
Would it be fair to say that was probably one of your idols?
Yeah, it could be Annika, absolutely. And yeah, I don't know. I think she's a big idol for many players, and many parents know who she is, and like yeah, take their children to the golf course to play and see if they think it's fun or not.
But I'm right in thinking that you're part of the Henrik Stenson.
Yeah.
So how does that work? How's his involvement with junior golf? What's the setup with him?
Yeah, he do a clinic like Nick Faldo yesterday,
Yeah.
and he was there, and it was great. We had small competitions behind this big competition, and he was there and showed himself and talked to us, and yeah, he seems chill, and I like him.
Is he set up in an academy? Is that how it works? Are you part of an academy where you get lessons as part of
Yeah, it's cool.
a school? Yes.
Yeah, I go at RIG in Helsingborg, and that's a school, and I'm going there for 4 years, so, and I like it very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just one last thing then. You talked about when you were playing competitions. What type of competitions did you play? Were you always playing off red tees, or were you put off tees halfway down the fairway when you were very young?
No, when I was very young, I always played red tees or blue tees,
Yeah.
but I had never played further or,
Forward tees.
Yeah,
Okay.
forward tees.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about the competitions? Were you in age group categories, or were you sometimes against adults?
Wait, say it again.
When you played in competitions, did you play in age groups, people the same age as you, or did you sometimes play against adults?
Yeah, for the most I play in the same ages, but it is like when I was 12 I started to play against them who was up to 21. So yeah, it is much. Yeah. Much
Okay.
these competitions were
Yeah.
up to 21 when you're a junior.
Yeah. Right. Just finally then,
Yeah.
we are here at the Faldo series. Just explain how you qualified for this.
Yeah, I played the Stensson Sunesson, and it was very tough weather, and it rained, and yeah, it was very tough, and I just like to be out there and play, and that was one of my biggest competitions for me at that year, and I think this was very fun to play. Just that, yeah.
So that was rain. What about playing in this?
Yeah,
very different.
Yeah, this weather is beautiful, and the course is so great, and everything is so good. But my golf has been a little bit, up and down. But yeah, I was going in and hit some balls in the net now for 3 weeks before this, so yeah. And I have not played on this grass before, so it's a very big challenge, a new challenge.
Is this the hottest you'd ever played in these kind of conditions?
Yeah.
How did you react to that? How did you have to develop your game and the way that you went around the golf course? What did you learn in the words?
Yeah, I think I learned to to drink and eat much, and just focus on what you're going to do. But sometimes it's hard because the sun is really hard and it's so warm, and I don't know. It was
very different from Sweden.
Yeah, the biggest challenge was the grass, I think, because I haven't played this before, and it's much harder than Sweden. I don't know the words for it, but it's more difficult.
So that's Felicia Martinsson from Sweden, who played in the Fowler Series European Junior Grand Final. So what did you make of that then, Ian? I mean, she talks very well for someone who says her English is not very good, but different experience from Tian, for example.
Yeah, and you're right, Steve. Actually, she does speak better English than you. But have you noticed, right, two things here? We've spoken to somebody from South Africa and somebody from Sweden. And again, Sweden, I view as another developed golf country, but because they have role models to look up to who have reached a very height of the game. You mentioned it in there as well. And that obviously has a big influence, doesn't it? It has a huge influence, in fact. And it seems that, she was playing, she always played from the red tees. She was brought up the right way, it seems, wasn't given too much pressure. But the important thing is for both South Africa and Sweden, as we're seeing, is that they had access to tournaments that could then elevate them and help them get further, get to like the Faldo Series, for example. And that helps with Sir Nick's connections, doesn't it, with Henrik Stenson and players like that. That's what I find fascinating. I think actually it would be great to speak to maybe in another podcast, we had somebody from the Czech Republic, didn't we? And Slovakia. Because I know there's a Faldo Series event in Slovakia, isn't there? But because they're not, how do we say this? They're not sort of traditional golf countries, are they? There isn't like major winners who have come from there. And it seems really that we're getting a lot of players that have come from countries where golf already has a big influence, which is why actually it's going to be interesting when we touch on Kenya soon.
Also, before we will come on to that, I'll just tell a little story as well. When I was sitting down for an evening meal after, I think it might have been after the first round, and we were sat with Matthew Faldo and the rest of the organising team, and on the next table they had all the Swedish players, and they were on a video call to Henrik Stenson. I mean, how wonderful is that? The fact that you're playing in a big event, but Henrik Stenson wants to find out how you're getting on, kind of thing, and we're all sat there and we're all thinking, should we go over there and join in the video call? They're like, no, this is their moment. This is their opportunity to almost chat to their hero, kind of thing.
It's almost becoming the World Cup, isn't it? The Faldo Series Grand Final. It's almost becoming a World Cup. But I mean, look, it's brilliant that there's access for these players, isn't there, to go to events and play in events like these. And in Sweden, with the help of the likes of Henrik Stenson, and in South Africa, as you said, the likes of Gary Player and Louis Oosthuizen clearly seems to be an influence on junior golfers over there now as well. So it's it's fantastic. But that's the main thing we picked up so far, is when you have a role model, it seems to be a lot easier to develop the game. And that's pretty obvious, but it's just, this is proof of it so far anyways.
Let's hear the contrast then, because like you mentioned there on a couple of occasions, and I said it myself, is Kenya doesn't have what you would say was a reputation of junior golf. I was at the Faldo Series Grand Final last year. There was players from Kenya playing it last year, and that surprised me, for being brutally honest. I didn't really know that there would be junior golfers who would come from that country. This year, same again. There was 4 players who come from Kenya. So I deliberately made a beeline and tried to have a chat with the people from Kenya. And I managed to have a chat with a wonderful lady, Regina Gachura, who's the president of junior golf in Kenya. This is what we had to have a chat about. Fascinating to hear what she had to say. This is what she said.
About 40 golf courses in Kenya. And for a very long time, most golf was played by 40 plus males, and very, very few juniors were able to penetrate the market of junior golf. But in the last 2 to 3 years, we have been very intentional about getting juniors to play golf. One of the things that we've done is that we have allowed juniors to have a membership at all the golf clubs for less than $10 a year.
Oh wow!
So, and with that membership, they're able to play golf for $1 every time they go and play on the golf course, which has made it really, really affordable for it. So what has happened in the last couple of years, we've grown exponentially, and we have about 2,500 juniors who play golf in Kenya right now. And what we are working on is now making those juniors really good, to the point that one day they can play in. We have a DP World Tour called the Magical Kenya Open, but every time we play, none of our players make cut, or maybe just one makes cut. But we want to get to a point where our own Kenyans can be able to win that tournament.
And how did that start off? How did you start the process of trying to get more juniors in?
Previously, we used to have tournaments for juniors, but most of them were geared towards juniors 13 and 14 and above. We signed an agreement with US Kids Golf to try and get juniors to start playing by the age of 5 years old, and that was in October of 2021. And that really opened the Pandora's box, because kids as young as 5 discovered the game of golf, which has been done in other countries previously, but we were late starters in that. And what it has done is it's really spurred golf as one of the big sports that people are looking into. Before, it was just soccer and athletics that they were looking into, but now they can see the affordability of being able to get into golf. The fact that we have so many golf courses for the juniors to be able to play. And then also we are scaling the courses where the little kids can be able to play from their tee boxes. So we play off 8 tees, right start to T7 based on the age of the juniors. And once those kids can see that they can be able to play birdies and pars on most holes, they get excited and they come back to the game of golf.
And what kind of reaction are you getting from the kids and also from the adults as well?
So about 70% of our kids are first-time golfers, meaning their parents have never played golf before. So for the parents, they're actually learning golf through their children, which is really exciting. We're also seeing that the parents are seeing the pathway of golf as one of the sports that can go into college scholarships. So really excited about it, and then the affordability of it. Then another thing we've done is we've trained about 50 coaches on level 1, level 2 US Kids. And now we're working with RNA in getting the coaches certified, PGA certified coaches, which we only had 2 or 3 in the country. But now we are working towards making sure we have as a lot of certified coaches in Kenya to be able to train. And the level of golf has really gone up exponentially. We're not at Europe, we're not at South Africa's level, but within the next 2 to 3 years we should be able to get there.
What about in comparison with other African countries? Let's probably take South Africa and perhaps Zimbabwe out of it, but there isn't that many, and perhaps the Middle East as well, but there aren't that many golf. Well, you tell me. I don't really know, but other countries haven't really got much of a reputation as well. So how has that gone down with other African countries, what you're trying to do?
So a lot of countries have actually asked us to help them with their junior programs in the same way we've done it in Kenya. Because the moment we started, the kids were excited, the parents were excited, government was excited, sponsors were excited. So it's grown because we've had a huge network of people who are excited about growing golf in Kenya. We are lucky we have 40 golf courses, so the kids have a lot of options on where they can play. It's spread out around the country, so the kids can be able to play in the rural areas and the urban areas. their golf courses spread around, and they just love playing with their peers. You know, the 5-year-olds like to play against each other, the 6-year-olds like to play against each other. Previously, it was a 12-year-old competing against an 18-year-old, didn't think it was fair. Now we have bands where the kids can play against each other. And for the girls, they're beginning to get new friends, and they're enjoying the social aspects of golf. So it's growing, and it's fun, and it's beautiful to see. A tournament like Nick Faldo, we signed up with them last year, and this is our second year here. For me, as the president of junior golf, what excites me is that I know my juniors are not there yet, but they're still able to compete with the best in Europe, and they're getting better and better. So 2-3 years from now, we'll probably get someone in the top 3 playing in Nick Faldo, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at growth, we're looking at development, and we're looking at them becoming better golfers.
You talk about the cost of membership there, as pretty much all across the world. Equipment can be expensive. How is that? How do you deal with that?
So in terms of equipment, what we have done as Junior Golf Foundation is we either get donations or we buy equipment and we give them to the different clubs. And usually that works really well for the juniors who are starting off the game of golf. Once they begin to love it, there's a lot of second-hand equipment and brand new equipment that they're able to get in. It's expensive, but the parents are willing to pay for it once they know that the kid is invested in the game. But for beginners, we have equipment at all the clubs where the kids can be able to use that equipment when they're learning how to play golf.
You mentioned playing in the Faldo series here. Just a word about this event and how this works, and what do you think your players are learning in the last 3 days in this competition?
So we have a Faldo series qualifier in Kenya, and that is how our under 16 boy and girl and under 21 boy and girl qualify to come. And what we do as Junior Golf Foundation is we sponsor them to come here. Reason being is a lot of the parents would not be able to afford to bring them here, but we need them to come and be able to experience this level of golf, which is a very high level of golf, and then go back and maybe what they've learned will brush off on a few other juniors, and they can also raise the level of golf in Kenya. This has been a fantastic experience. Last year I was the only one with the 4 juniors who came. This year their parents actually came with them, so I didn't have to walk with the kids because the parents were right there with them, just watching the level of golf. And the parents are so appreciative of the fact that their juniors who probably play maybe handicap 5 or handicap 4 are able to play with a boy or girl who's playing +3, +5. It's completely unheard of. We don't have that quality of golf in Kenya. So for them to come to Nick Faldo and be able to play against that level of golf is phenomenal for them. And it's a great learning experience. I tell the parents when they're coming, don't expect to come and win, but make sure by the time we go back, we've all learned something about what we need to do better in terms of growing golf in Kenya, especially elite golf. And so when we go back, we'll probably have a meeting and they'll probably give me tips on what they learned on the golf course. But for me, one of the things I've done is I've just been following and just watching the top players and just seeing, wow, okay, so how do you do this, and how do they do this, and how do they manage the course, and their mannerisms on the course, and how is it they're getting so many birdies and my people are not getting birdies. And these are things I will now tell the coaches and just say, hey, we need to work on this, we need to work on this, we need to work on this, on improving our level of golf. So very exciting. I come here to learn. I would never say I have experts players yet, but this is a great experience for us to be able to be invited and for us to have our juniors play at the Nick Faldo series.
Just finally, and what was Bianca talking about after she did the Nick Faldo clinic and she went up there and did the chipping in front of him?
She is in awe.
Yeah.
She's completely in awe and just so excited for this opportunity. Bianca is our under 16. She's 14 years old. She's an up-and-coming player. She plays off 5, handicap 5. This is the first really big international tournament that she's playing. So the first day she was full of nerves. But this for her, I tell you, is a huge eye-opener for her, and a great opportunity. She's a great player, and she's someone to watch out for.
I'm just thinking how big was her smile though yesterday evening after.
No, she was in awe. She was completely in awe for having that opportunity with Nick Faldo.
Oh,
so that was Regina Gatura. Yeah, I mean, just to explain it, I do have some photos. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them through to you. But Bianca and Gerku, basically, Nick Faldo did a chipping and putting clinic or short game clinic with all the players, and he invited 3 players to come up, and Bianca was one of the players who came up. And wow, I mean, what an experience that is to have a 6 times major winner for a 15-year-old, 14-year-old girl kind of thing, I mean, it was just, you could tell as she was walking away, she's almost in like a daze after what had happened kind of thing, you see. So, but I mean, just talking, going through what Regina was saying there, fantastic, isn't it, the work that she's doing in Kenya?
When you have people like that, it's going to be good. Do you know what I mean? She's so motivated, and the thing about developing a sport, and whether it's golf or whatever sport it is, you need people who want to do it, and you need buy-in as well. It's very difficult to do everything by yourself, and I mean, I made a note there: $10 per year,
wow,
and you can play golf basically anywhere. I mean, right, Kenya's a big country, like huge. I don't know how many times the size of the UK it is, but it's got to be at least 5 or 6 times the size of the UK. They've got 40 golf courses. Now, I live in Bracknell in Berkshire, and there's about 40 golf courses within about 3 miles of me. So, I mean, it is incredible. But that is forward thinking. Whoever brokered that deal, whether it was the government or Regina herself, incredible. Absolutely incredible. 70% of parents have never played golf before for the kids who are coming in. So this is new, isn't it? This is the next wave. This is now when Sweden, when England, when we all first started playing golf in the 1700s, 1800s or whatever, Kenya is now trying to find its Nick Faldo. It's trying to find its Henrik Stenson. It's trying to find its Ernie Els and its Gary Player and its Louis Oosthuizen. And it's going to do it because it wants to do it. And it's got people who are prepared to push, drive, and motivate. Equipment is an issue, not going to lie. Golf, it immediately starts on the back foot because most sports are cheaper to play than golf. However, as I said at the start of this podcast, Uganda is another country that's starting to push forward. There's a chap I know, I'm connected on LinkedIn, and broadcast one of his events over here in the UK with the Social Golfer, who we're broadcasting to on Facebook. And it was an equipment drive. That was what it was. It was to get it. So we had members from the Social Golfer coming down. It was at Bletchingley Golf Club. Members came down. They just bought their old clubs. I chucked a few old sort of Dunlops in and things like that. It doesn't matter. But they walked away with about 500-600 golf clubs that go back to Uganda free, just handing them out for free for people to start playing golf. And it can be done. You need forward-thinking people. Regina is absolutely incredible, by the way, what she's doing for this sport. And, I don't know who the individuals who watch this, but that association with Sir Nick Faldo is fantastic. Can we get some more pro golfers? Can we get more tours? Can we get more people who have far more influence in the sport than Steve and I to help these people, because they are trying to secure the long-term future of this beautiful game?
And also, what she was talking about is realistic as well, because she was talking about the players playing in this tournament. They're not going to win it, kind of thing. I mean, I was just while that video's been playing, I just had a quick look at the scores just to see how they actually got on. None of those Kenyan golfers finished last, so it wasn't as if they were embarrassing themselves and coming in with 16, 17 over par each round. No, they were pretty competitive with the rest of the people. We mentioned Freddie Dortmund a little earlier, who's Bernard Gallagher's. I think he's his grandson, related to Bernard Gallagher. He finished level with Daniel, the lad who. So that they're good players,
Yeah.
and that's now. That's after such a short period of time of being able to play the game. So you imagine in years to come what you can do if you suddenly get more. If you're bigger, if the base is bigger at the bottom, you're going to have better players at the top. That's the way it works.
But equally, Steve, as well, credit to Sir Nick and Matthew and the entire Faldo series team, because obviously we've both been involved in it for a few years now, and I've just covered the England, Scotland, the home country events. You've gone all over the world. Obviously, they have the final in the UAE. They have events in Slovakia. Obviously, they have the series over in America. They have a qualifier in Kenya. They're really it's expanding, and I mean they need these competitions. What motivation for that? I mean, you said the player there getting that lesson from Sir Nick Faldo. I mean, I would be in awe. I'm 38 years old. Imagine being a junior and you've got Nick Faldo. Just like, oh, how's it going? I'm really, it would just be wow. Wouldn't it? Absolutely wow.
I'm just having a look actually at the results for that event. So they held their qualifier in June, early June. You wonder how hot it would have been in early June. Yeah. But I suppose they're more used to it than perhaps we would be. But they had 60 odd players playing on it. So it's not as if it's to a small field as well. It's not as if you've got 10, 15 players playing it. They're packing their fields out as well to play these qualifiers. So that's great as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it will grow. The game will grow. It's hard, golf. As I said before, the issue with golf is if you want to play football, for example, you can get a football in England. You can get a football from a well-known sports shop for like £3, and it's decent enough. And you can chuck a couple of jumpers down. You just need a patch of grass. Golf, you need acres of land. You need equipment. Clothing-wise, I hope they're not as strict over in Kenya and other countries as we tend to be over here in the UK. Although we're getting better, I've got to say. But I've said this all along. Golf's too complicated, and we create our own barriers when all we really want to do is just pick up a golf club. Doesn't matter what brand, doesn't matter how good it is, it doesn't matter whatever. Get a golf ball and hit it that way, and see it fly. And that's the start. That's the start. Now, some countries, Kenya, a lot further down the road, and then of course you've got countries like South Africa, Sweden, the UK, the USA, that's sort of been leading the way in golf for the last forever. But we want more coming to the party, and we've seen the growth in Asia, aren't we? It's absolutely huge now over in Asia. So the sport is loved. It's wanted to be played. So we need to encourage and we need to help countries like Kenya. We need to help Regina and push it and promote it. And wouldn't it be great if we've got the Ryder Cup, Europe v USA, haven't we? We've got the President's Cup, USA Asia. Wouldn't it be great to have a sort of a continent cup where we've got Australasia? We all get every 4 years. We have the best of Europe, the best of North America, the best of South America, the best of Africa, the best of Asia, all going toe to toe in one massive global. Like, we think the Ryder Cup is big. Could you imagine that? Like, on Monday England are playing, Europe are playing America, then we've got a match against Africa on the Tuesday, then we're playing Asia on the Wednesday. Oh, could you imagine? I mean, it would just be insane, wouldn't it?
Right, we have covered international junior golf on the Progress Junior Golf podcast. We haven't covered it previously. Then we've had 48 podcasts so far. We've touched on it a little bit, but at last we've covered it in some detail though. So massive thanks to A to the Faldo series for obviously inviting me out to cover their European Junior Open file. Well done to all the 22, the 57 players and from the 22 nations who took part in that competition. Tian Lapaskashny, who the teaching professional at LAN, for talking to me. Felicia Martinson from the Swedish Junior Golf, and Regina Gashura, the president of Junior Golf in Kenya. We just touched upon international junior golf, but I hope you've enjoyed what we've had to say and taken a little bit of inspiration. So yes, right. Progress Junior Golf podcast coming up. Then we're probably going to have 2 more between now and the end of the year. Not sure exactly what they're going to be on at the moment. I think the last one of the year is going to be a review on all the things that we've covered during 2023. So, wow, I mean, some of the people we've spoken to during the year, major winners, ladies European Tour professionals, former European Tour pros, so lots of different people we've spoken to on various subjects over the last year or so. So that'll be one of the podcasts, and we'll probably cover another subject as well, possibly on how to become a junior organizer at a golf club. That's one whereby we're looking to set something up, possibly to get someone on who is just taken on the role and wants a little bit of advice. If that's you out there and you've just taken on the junior organizer at your club and you want to find out, how do I do this? Join us in a couple of weeks' time, and we might well give you some solid advice on how to do that. Right, that wraps it up then this evening. Thanks so much for Ian. Thanks so much for all our guests, and we shall see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.